Dante Starshine here. It is March 1st, tomorrow is the day of the new moon, and I want to share with you about it. I'm not going to continue to stream in these, it's hard to see, but I wanted to start off with them on. Anyway, so this is live. I want to share a couple things before we really dive into it. So the weekly channeling session this week is going to be not on Thursday, it is going to be on Friday. The slight change is because I will be all night in a hickory ceremony here, and the next day I'll probably be pretty tired. And therefore, as well, the private channeling session in a small group will be on Monday. And the Monday will be the day after the equinox, so it'll be a really amazing opportunity to connect as that equinox energy is with us for several days. I'm really excited to share with you on Friday and Monday if you'd like to join those channeling sessions. Since I caught my throat, hold on. So, and as well, the channeling course is launching in the end of March, and we haven't really picked the day of the week yet, but it is a 13-week program. If you go to dantestarshine.com/course, there is information about that, and I will be posting more videos and more content about that on the community page and in various places, so check it out. It's a really amazing opportunity. People have really grown and evolved and started their own channeling practice and healed so many of their own internal struggles through this program. So it's a really blessing and a privilege to share. And all right, moving on, we're going to start into the reading of this new moon in Pisces. The new moon is always this time of planting the seeds of intention, of completing a cycle, and we're moving from this waning phase of the moon, which is considered kind of a darker time, time where the energy is heavier, into the passing phase, which is lighter, brighter, energy is building and growing for something. And this is a particularly auspicious new moon as it is conjunct the great benefic Jupiter. And not only is it connected with Jupiter, Pisces is the sign of Jupiter, and the other planet connected to Pisces, Neptune, is also connected and conjunct with the sun and the moon at the time of this new moon. So this is an extremely Pisces event. And what is Pisces about? It's about spirituality. It's about mysticism, connection with other realms. It's about art and creativity. It's about unconditional love. It's about dreaming. It's about storytelling. So all of these can be themes that we experience with this new moon. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, is also about endings. So we're completing that. This is the last new moon of the astrological year, as Pisces is all about the idea of transcendence. Hopefully that reconnecting thing does not happen again. Sorry about that. So transcending and moving to the new cycle is the energy of Pisces. And then what else is going on with this new moon is there is a connection between Mars and Venus that has been going on for the past month and is going to continue for the next month. Mars and Venus have been moving together, and these are the planets of love and beauty and sensuality, Venus, and the planet of war, aggression, diplomacy, the planet of the occult, the fiercer planet, Mars. So when they come together, it can be a uniting of the archetypal feminine and masculine, or it can also be a conflict between the masculine and feminine. How this pans out really depends on which planet is stronger in your chart. Are you a more Martian person or are you a more Venusian person? You get to determine these things by looking at what's your ascendant, which of those planets is conjunct benefic planets, which of those planet rules important houses, and also what time of your life you're in. So if that's something you're interested in, you can book a reading and we can talk more about it because astrology is very deep. Though it also is depending on how the placement of Mars and Venus now impact your own chart. So it can bring resolutions, it can bring peace, or it can bring conflict. And what I experience is that it brings both. Some of my relations are getting stronger and tighter and more connected, and I'm seeing how we can come closer together and build our bonds. And other relationships are suddenly falling away because of conflicts that don't really make that much sense. So both of these things can be up. And it also increases our passion, increases our vigor. And it is now connecting with this planet Pluto of transformation, the furthest out planet that's not even considered a planet anymore, but it's still a very important object in astrology. Pluto is about death and rebirth, release and letting go. And when planets come into contact with Pluto, they start to shed layers, or they take us into our own inner underworld. Pluto brings out obsessions and brings out mental instability, brings out a quest for power. So there might be an aspect to these relationships that are not working out that is about power. And if we can get in touch with our own inner power and know our inner strength, we don't have to seek taking power over other people. And that is the game that is playing out in the world stage as well. Mars and Venus together can indicate war on a more global scale as well, as we are seeing. I'm not interested in talking about that, however. I like to take astrology into the realm of the personal. So many other astrologers are good at that. Look at them. Anyway, Vesta is there with Mars and Venus as well. And Vesta is this virginal goddess. And virginal has come to mean something very different. I was reading about this and recently, and I like to bring this in because it's really important. In a more old sense of this virgin, it means somebody who is not a mother, who has not given birth yet. It doesn't mean somebody who is so pure and has not had sex. And what is the power of not being a mother and not dedicating yourself to the family life is that you can dedicate yourself to other purposes. And that is the mythology of Vesta. It's foregoing this traditional route to go down the spiritual route and to connect with this inner fire of purification. So when Vesta comes into contact with planets, it makes us more serious and it makes us redevote and reinvest ourselves in what really matters. So whatever is happening in your relationships, if it's peaceful, if it's passionate, or if it's aggressive and doesn't make sense, if it's more plutonic, consider that the best outcome has to do with you investing yourself in your own growth and in your own spirituality and healing. And relationships that don't serve that higher purpose might not serve at all in this present time. Those relationships can come around again, and often that's the way it works, is that we go beyond a connection for a certain period to learn how to reconnect as different people in a different time and space. So be open to whatever is happening and make your priority your own well-being and your own sense of expansion. Especially because this is a Pisces new moon, which is all about the spiritual. And you might be experiencing that spiritual expansion, and you can take a moment to dedicate yourself to spiritual growth tomorrow in some way. Plant the seeds of that. For me, this is a time all about detoxification of relationships, of addictions, of thoughts that keep me from doing the very best that I can do for myself and for my own path. That might be related to Venus and Mars together with Vesta, and it might be something that many people are experiencing. It's also coming to be the springtime, which is a time of cleansing and release and rejuvenating yourself so that you can really be in your brightest, most powerful self for summer months. I guess we're not quite in spring yet, but we're getting there. The equinox is coming. So I want to say again about this Venus and Mars thing, because I've been talking about it. It's going on through the month of March. And right now it's at this most intense part where it's with Pluto and it feels more intense and heavy. And then as it moves past Pluto, it enters into Aquarius. And together in Aquarius, it gets a little bit more out of the box and weird, because Aquarius is about innovation, transformation, upgrades, things that are unusual. It's about dedicating yourself to the greater good. And Capricorn is very much invested in the personal good. Capricorn is very traditional and methodical and wants to get things done and organized and structured. So when the signs shift into that Aquarius, we might experience that Mars and Venus together feel a little bit lighter. And also, in some days, ancient astrology considers when planets are together, they're at war. So when they are near each other, but they're not on the exact degree, their energy unifies more. But when they're really on top of each other, like they are now, they're at war. And Venus is benefic, Mars is malefic. When the planet gets in, one planet gets in front of the other, it's winning. So as Venus comes to pass Mars, Venus is winning. But malefic planets tend to be more vengeful. So when a malefic planet is losing the war, it tends to bring out more of that aggression. So over the next couple of days after the moon, I would anticipate even an increase in some of these energies that we might be experiencing as maybe an inner or outer aggression. That then comes to dissipate. We move into Aquarius and things feel lighter. In addition to all of that, the planets were in square to Eris. That creates conflict as well, and they've moved past that point, but now they're in square to Haumea, and following the new moon, Haumea is going to be activated again. And Haumea is this planet of evolution and fertility and growth. So there might be some fertile awakenings happening. You might feel like you're evolving more. And Haumea is generally a very helpful influence, so I like that aspect. Okay, I feel like I just went so into this Venus-Mars thing, which is more of a long-term thing, into the energy of the new moon itself. What else can we say about this spiritual energy present here? Jupiter is also the planet of wisdom and learning, and so this can be a beautiful time to plant the seeds of learning something new or teaching something new. Both learning and teaching come in together with this Jupiter energy. It might be a time where you feel very lucky, or sudden luck comes in general to more people, as that's an energy Jupiter brings. Neptune, however, as Pisces' other ruling planet, and another planet that's connected with this all, is about dissolving and releasing and letting go into the spiritual. So we might find that this is an especially important time to dedicate ourselves to that higher purpose and to release and let go and to allow for illusions to dissolve. There's also the influence of this little asteroid, Nisus, and the mythology of Nisus is kind of intense. You can look that up if you'd like, but basically the meaning of Nisus is about betrayal and perversion. So there might be either a manifestation of this or a connection with this in our own psyche, or a memory of this coming up for healing at this time of Nisus being involved in the new moon and directly connected to Jupiter. So let me confuse you all now and start to talk about things from the sidereal perspective. I've been speaking in Western astrology about the placements, tropical astrology, and there's another system of astrology called sidereal astrology. They're both effective. I'm actually studying Vedic astrology, which is sidereal right now. 10 years I've been doing this Western astrology, and I just, I like to learn different languages. That's all I see this as. It's a different language of astrology. Learning new literal languages, Spanish, Portuguese, and learning the different language of Vedic astrology I find very interesting, and you can see different angles here. And one thing so when we look at it from the Vedic astrological perspective, we have blah, blah, blah. Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury with Venus and Mars together, all of them in the same sign. That's really loading this Capricorn energy up with many planets. And when another intense planet like Saturn comes into the mix, it makes things feel even more serious, and Mercury gets involved, making us perhaps brood and think too much about it, get very much in our mind. But the power of those planets together, and in both systems we have this Mercury-Saturn energy right now. It's about a very sharp, precise intellect, a very serious mind that can see things deeper. I have a friend that has Mercury and Saturn together on the ascendant, and he has a very sharp mind and is always penetrating and dissecting things and going to these deep esoteric realms that a lot of people can't really keep up with. So there might be this presence now of maybe needing to look deeper and analyze closer everything that's happening, and that might be coming up in those relationships as well. From this sidereal perspective as well, there's an aspect of the North Node, known as Rahu, that is on top of all of these planets. And when Rahu makes an aspect, an aspect is like a planet looking to the other planets. It's engaging with them and it's interested in them. It desires them. What is Rahu about? Rahu is a kind of wild, dark force that is sort of rebellious and has materialistic urges. Rahu often urges for psychoactive, drug-induced experiences. So Rahu influencing all of these planets at this time can make things feel like there's an inner craving for something, like you don't even know why, that you are craving to have these conflicts or these passions or these pleasures, or again with Mercury, this deeper mental understanding. So Rahu makes things impulsive and wild and sudden. So the best thing to do when there's this Rahu influence is slow down and make sure that you incorporate time for meditation, because Rahu causes problems when we go unconscious and we don't bring presence into everything we're doing. So to really work with this Rahu energy, we want to quiet the mind. The North Node or Rahu is an unconscious force. So it requires us to slow down enough through meditation to get in touch with our unconscious, to sort of tame the dragon. And mythologically, in all systems, Rahu is often represented by a dragon or a serpent. So if we want to tame the dragon, we have to have this powerful meditative touch to life and to all that we do, to feel that craving and that desire and that impulsiveness, and really reflect upon it and ask ourselves, do we fully want to do this? Is this really in our best interest? Does this really serve us? So especially with your relationships right now and your exchanges, your business exchanges, and anything you have to do that's relating to elders, because Saturn is about people that are elder and or older than you. They don't have to be necessarily old, but as long as they're your elders, that's a Saturnian energy. So be very slow, meditative, and think things through, because that Rahu energy can bring some intensity and impulsiveness. Now, Rahu is changing signs in the sidereal system. In the Western system, it just changed signs like 2 months ago. In the sidereal system, it's moving from Taurus, where it will stay in the Western system for another year or so. And now in the sidereal system, it moves into Aries. So in Taurus, Rahu was very interested in material growth and expansion, changing the paradigm, um, perhaps sensuality or acquiring things. Rahu is exalted in Taurus in many systems, so it behaves well. And now moving into Aries, it gets more passionate, it gets more fiery. Rahu becomes much more interested in creative exploration, and the shadow of that is that Aries is just as impulsive as Rahu. So we might have to be more on our game in terms of making sure we're keeping that impulsiveness in check. But the benefit is it might allow us to create many new experiences and allow us to transform and evolve. In a couple of days or a week, Rahu moves into that sign, and Ketu, who's always opposed to Rahu, moves into a new sign as well of Libra. And Libra is about our relationships and our intimacy and diplomacy as well. So K2 is about renouncing or letting go or having stripped away something, or it can be about grieving things. It's a planet that brings a spiritual evolution, but can bring material loss. So K2 in the sign of relationships can mean letting go of certain relationships, closing certain chapters of relating. It can mean letting go of certain business negotiations or plans that you thought you had with others. All of this depends on how the signs of Aries and Libra are in your chart. If you have good planets there, if you have bad, good or bad planets, what am I saying? Benefic or malefic is very different than good or bad. It's basically just helpful, shiny, bright planets or harsh planets. Good and bad is no. So it just depends what planets are in those signs, and depending on those influences, it'll determine how any of this plays out. So with that said, if you'd like to look at how this or anything affects your own chart, I'm available for readings. I do personal readings, I do year ahead readings to show you what your next year might look like. I do relationship readings, I do readings on the past to understand deeper the meaning and the lessons of things that have already happened. And I mean, we can look at all times and spaces, because we have the map of the placement of the planets already mapped out, and we can see what's coming and what has been from different angles. Okay, I'm gonna take another look at this to see about anything else that's popping out to me. Just a reminder to those who tuned in that the channeling live stream this week is on Friday, not Thursday, and the private session for personal questions and integration is on Monday, just after the equinox. Okay, now I'm going to pull up this one. So from the tropical perspective, Mars and Venus both enter Aquarius on the same day together on March 7th. That is when Venus starts to overtake Mars, and Venus is winning the planetary war, and there can be more intensity. Expressing for a moment. anybody has questions, feel free to type them in the chat, because I'm gently bringing this to a close. So the last thought coming up is the positive side of Rahu. I've talked about the shadow and the danger of the impulsiveness, but Rahu is essentially our desire, and desire is the force that brings all evolution and growth into being, and is really the reason, if you look at many esoteric texts, desire is the reason why this existence is here in the first place. So the positive side of Rahu is learning how to honor those desires and carry them out in ways that are less impulsive. It is desire that carries us towards our fate. So when there is this powerful influence of Rahu, we know that there are pathways leading to us to our destiny at this time. So know that every moment we are carving a tapestry of our life, or creating an art piece of our life. Everything we do is this permanent memory that's ingratiated in time and carves the path of our fate. So enjoy, be light and free, but also take seriously what you're doing and dedicate yourself, especially now with that Vesta aspect. Dedicate yourself, invest yourself in what matters to you, and it will pay off. And I've seen that so much in my own life, and also in mine. Can't wait for the Jupiter and Neptune conjunction. Ooh, why did that go away? Can't wait for the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in April. It is conjunct my North Node. May lift the collective. Yeah, Jupiter and Neptune together will bring a lot of spiritual expansion for sure. It will bring a lightness, though. Remember as well, everything is positive and negative aspects. So the lightness, the spiritual expansion, the growth, and the potential pitfall is the illusion or delusion, which is a connection of Neptune. It is potentially overdoing things. It is potentially believing so much your own narrative and stories that you can't see reality. And that is one of the pitfalls of Neptune. So as we move up to that time, make sure you get really clear in what you want and what your vision is, and learn to distinguish your vision and your dream between reality. And our goal is to make our dreams reality, but not mistake what we want to see for what is. And that's something to just watch out for. I definitely do feel the collective lifting, and if we look more into the future, Uranus comes to get the support of Rahu, of the North Node, in some time. And as we, so this is going way out, but this is an event that is just, important. Wow, why am I going this far out, though? In my mind, it was like, it's just around the corner. And from the universe's perspective, it's just around the corner. But in the perspective of daily life, it only happens in September that we have this last Uranus-Neptune opposition, Saturn-Uranus square. And this time Uranus is supported by the North Node. And this Uranus-Saturn dance has been associated with so much of the political unrest and the suppression of human rights and the rebellion against that. So it could be that up until that point we're peaceful and in a beautiful place, but who knows what can happen again, or who knows if it just simply means that the people revolt and we take power back then. But the collective lifting just reminded me of looking to that as well. Okay. Any last questions? Anything? Blessings to you too, Druid of Earth. Blessings to everybody. I'm feeling brighter, more brilliant. I feel like for me, everything's coming into place inside, and I'm getting more focused on what really needs to happen for me and how to live in more aligned ways every day. And I wish the same for everybody. And there's just so much power and brilliance that I want to keep sharing. I'm continuing to work on my book. It's in the editing process. I am guessing that I'm in the last 2 weeks of it. I have a lot of help from amazing people. Thanks to everyone who supported the pre-launch of the book. And soon it is going to be officially launched, and you can read this channeled book from the Pleiadian Council. It covers so many aspects of life and beyond, and I really look forward to getting that to you, but I've been putting a lot of my time into that, and I just look forward to that being shared with the world and what comes next. And a reminder as well, live stream Friday, private session Monday. Private sessions are really beautiful because you can ask questions that are more personal in nature and help you to really get in touch with yourself, as oftentimes the most vulnerable and important things we need to share don't really feel right for that group space. And also, we're still in a time where there's some censorship at points, so we can ask things that we might not put on YouTube otherwise. Also, the channeling course coming up, and tomorrow I'm going to put a video out about that, so check out the channel then and take a look, because it might just be exactly what's going to bring the shift for you. I hope you're feeling better and look forward to committing to learning more of astrology, and maybe you can be one of my teachers. We will talk. All right, great. Yeah, Simone lives here in Zipolite, so I'll see her soon, and I'll send. Yeah, I look forward to chatting about astrology and whatever it may be, pretty soon, in the next couple days, hopefully. All right. Um, Thanks everybody for watching and supporting. My love to you, and wish you a brilliant rest of your day. Ciao.